Be me, 28M, back-end developer at a mid-sized tech consultancy. We build boring but necessary software for logistics companies, the kind of code that makes sure trucking routes don't cross paths in a way that burns fuel. It's not Google, but it pays the bills. Bought a house in the suburbs before interest rates went to the moon. Drive a 2018 Honda Civic. Life is simple, quiet, and efficient. The office environment used to be the same. Open floor plan, but nobody really talked unless it was about code, video games, or where to get lunch. 80% male, 20% female split. Nobody cared about the demographics. We cared if your API calls returned the right JSON objects. Enter the new hire. Management decides we need a culture and operations manager. Apparently, shipping code on time isn't enough culture. Enter Chloe, 27F, Master, S in Organizational Psychology and Gender Studies. Resume list, disruptor and change agent as skills. Glasses with frames thicker than my tires. Piercing stare that judges your soul and finds it lacking in equity. First week, she sends out a company-wide email introducing herself. Uses 5 different emojis in the subject line. Hey team, and I mean everyone. Rainbow sparkles, let's decolonize our workflow and center our joy. I look over at Dave, the 55-year-old database admin. Dave has been working with SQL since before Chloe was born. Dave looks at his screen size and deletes the email. Just tell me if the server is on fire, he mutters. Phase 1, the decor. Chloe decides the office is too sterile and masculine. Grays and blues are out. In comes the vibe shift. Motivational posters that don't make sense. Empower the narrative, printed over a picture of a mountain. Beanbag chairs in the conference rooms. Nobody sits in them because getting out of a beanbag in khakis is undignified. She puts a mood board in the break room. We are supposed to pin sticky notes about our feelings. Week 1, the board is empty. Week 2, Chloe pins 3 notes herself. Grateful, energized, seen. Week 3, an intern pins a note saying hungry. Chloe calls a meeting about emotional vulnerability in the workspace. Phase 2, the language policing. This is where it started to get real. We have a Slack channel called General, used for announcements, birthday wishes, leftover bagels in kitchen. I type, hey guys, the server reboot is scheduled for 8 p.m. Immediate DM from Chloe. Hey, waving hand, just a gentle reminder. Guys is gendered language and excludes our non-male colleagues. Let's try folks, everyone, or team instead. Words create worlds. Globe showing Europe, Africa. I stare at the screen. I've been saying guys to mixed groups my entire life. Even the women here say guys. I edit the message, hey everyone. 2 days later, Mark from sales types, man, that client was tough. Chloe in the public channel. At Mark, let's refrain from using man as an expletive. It reinforces patriarchal defaultism. Thanks for being an ally. Folded hands. Mark turns around in his chair, looking like he just got slapped with a wet fish. The office goes quiet. Not the focused quiet of coding, the fearful quiet of a minefield. Phase 3, the initiatives. Chloe launches Women of Logistics, a weekly luncheon for the female employees to share lived experiences. There are exactly 4 women in our branch. Sarah, lead QA, Jen HR, Michelle intern, and Chloe. Sarah hates these meetings. She tells me later over coffee, I have bugs to squash. I don't want to talk about my journey. I want to talk about why the staging environment keeps crashing. But Chloe insists. It's mandatory for visibility. Then comes the male allyship workshop. Mandatory for all men. Tuesday afternoon, 2 p.m. We shuffle into the conference room with the bean bags. Dave looks like he's marching to the gallows. Chloe stands at the front with a slide deck. Title, Unpacking the Invisible Knapsack of Tech Bro Culture. She talks for an hour about how we take up space, how our silence is violence, how our objective, logic is actually just encoded bias. She asks for examples of how we've perpetuated systems of exclusion. Silence. Actual crickets would have been too loud. Finally, Brian, a junior dev, raises his hand. Sometimes I interrupt people when I'm excited about a solution. Chloe beams. Thank you, Brian. That is manterrupting, and recognizing it is the first step. Brian sinks into his bean bag, face red. I look around the room. I see the light go out in everyone's eyes. It's the realization. We are not colleagues here. We are suspects. Phase 4, the withdrawal. It didn't happen overnight. It was a slow, calculated retreat. The Pence rule effect, but on steroids and generalized to everything. Used to be, we'd go out for drinks on Fridays. Mixed group, anyone could come. Now, too risky. What if you have a few beers and make a joke about a movie? What if that movie is deemed problematic on Monday? What if you compliment someone's outfit and it's flagged as harassment. The invitations stop. The lunch groups fracture. Men eat at their desks with headphones on. Women eat in the break room or go out together. The mentorship stops. This was the biggest hit. Used to be, if a junior female dev was struggling, a senior guy would pull up a chair. Here, let me show you a trick with that library. Sit side by side, debug together, laugh about the error. Now, a senior dev sitting too close to a junior female dev. Power dynamic. Potential for grooming accusations. Mansplaining risk. So the guy stopped. If a female junior asked for help, the answer was, check the documentation, submit a ticket, send me the code snippet on Slack. Professional distant, paper trail. Safe. Phase 5 the project. 6 months in. Chloe is frustrated. She feels the chill. She thinks it's toxic masculinity digging in its heels. She convinces upper management to let her lead a project. Project Harmony, a complete overhaul of our internal dashboard. UI/UX focused, empathy-driven design. She picks the team. She wants 50-50 gender parity. She pulls Sarah QA and Michelle intern to be lead devs. She pulls me and Dave for technical support. But she makes it clear, this is a space for female voices to lead. You guys are here to facilitate their vision. Fine, I have no ego about the dashboard. I just want the database to work. Kickoff meeting. Chloe talks about color theory and emotional resonance of the buttons for 45 minutes. Dave asks, what's the load capacity? How are we handling the API requests? Chloe waves a hand. We're focusing on the asterisk feel right now, Dave. Don't weigh down the brainstorming with technical limitations. Dave's eye twitches. He shuts his laptop. Understood. The weeks go by. The scope creeps. Chloe promises features that defy the laws of physics and our server budget. She wants real-time tracking of every truck, with sentiment analysis of the drivers based on their route speed. I tell her in an email, sentiment analysis requires third-party API integration we don't have budget for. Also, privacy laws. She replies, let's think outside the box. Don't be a blocker, be an expander, sparkles. I don't reply. I print the email and save it in a physical folder. I name the folder the receipts. The deadline approaches. 2 weeks out. Nothing works. The front end looks pretty but connects to nothing. The back end is a mess because we weren't allowed to structure it until the vibes were settled. Sarah is stressed out of her mind. She's a good QA, but she's not a lead architect. She's staying late every night. Chloe is posting on LinkedIn about leading with empathy and shattering glass ceilings, while her team is drowning. Friday afternoon, 4 p.m., Chloe comes to my desk. She sits on the edge of it, invasion of space, but okay. Hey ops, so we're a little behind. I noticed. We need a big push this weekend. All hands on deck. Pizza and Red Bull just like the old days, right? She tries to give me a camaraderie wink. It looks like a glitch. I look at my calendar. I can't, I have plans. Her smile falters. Plans, but the team needs you. Sarah is drowning. I sent Sarah the documentation for the API endpoints on Tuesday. She has everything she needs. But she needs support asterisk. She needs a mentor. I turn my chair to face her fully. Chloe, last month during the allyship workshop, you specifically said that men swooping in to save women is a form of benevolent sexism that undermines their agency. You said we need to step back and let women own their success. Her mouth opens slightly. I am stepping back. I am letting them own the project. I am respecting the boundary you established. She blinks rapidly. But this is a crisis. It's a project management issue. I'm contracted for 40 hours. I've done 40 hours. See you Monday. I pick up my bag and leave. I walk past Dave. He is playing solitaire. He gives me a barely perceptible nod. Monday morning. The dashboard launches. It crashes immediately. 404 errors everywhere. The client is furious. The CEO is involved. Emergency meeting in the bean bag room. CEO Chloe, Sarah, me, Dave. Chloe is flushed, looking frantic. It was a systemic failure, she says. There was a lack of collaboration. The senior engineers didn't support the junior leads. She looks at me and Dave. I asked for help on Friday and I was refused. It felt like sabotage. The CEO looks at me. Op, is this true? I open my laptop. Connect to the projector. Here are the email logs. I pull up the receipts folder. Aug 12, I warned about the API budget. Dismissed as blocking. Sept 4, I offered to architect the database schema early. Told to wait for emotional design phase. Oct 1, Sarah asked for help. I referred her to the documentation because per the employee handbook, section 4.2, revised by Chloe, Unsolicited technical correction can be perceived as micromanagement and bias. Oct 14. Chloe asked for overtime. I declined based on the work-life balance initiative Chloe implemented in July, which states, no employee shall be pressured to work weekends to cover for planning deficiencies. Silence in the room. The CEO reads the screen. He looks at the work-life balance pamphlet lying on the table. He looks at Chloe. Chloe is trembling. But you knew it would fail. You watched us fail. I did exactly what I was told, I say calmly. I followed the culture you built. I respected the space. I checked my privilege. I didn't interrupt. I didn't mansplain. I stayed in my lane. You wanted a workspace where men don't dominate, don't take charge, and don't impose their will. Congratulations, you got it. We aren't sabotaging you, Chloe. We're just not doing the extra uncompensated labor of fixing your mistakes anymore, because you made it too dangerous to do so. We are operating at 100% efficiency, according to the new rules. Dave chimes in from the back. I just manage the database, boss, and the database is fine. It's just that nothing is connected to it. The CEO rubs his temples. He looks at the crashed dashboard on the other screen. He looks at the Empower the Narrative poster. Chloe, can you give us a minute? Chloe leaves the room. She looks like she's going to cry or scream or write a Medium article. Probably all three. The aftermath. Project Harmony was scrapped. We rolled back to the old dashboard. Chloe was transitioned to a different role. External consultant for diversity or something remote. She didn't last long after that. But the damage was done. The silence remained. We still don't go out for drinks. We still don't joke in Slack. The women of logistics. Lunch stopped happening because Sarah refused to go. New hires come in. They feel the vibe immediately. It's professional. It's polite. It's cold as ice. A month later, we get a new female intern, Emily. She's fresh out of boot camp, eager, nervous. She gets stuck on a Git-merge conflict. She looks around the room. The guys are all headphones on, eyes on screens. She looks at me. Excuse me, Op, can you help me? I hesitate. I see the ghost of the accusations. I see the manterrupting slide. But I also see a kid who just wants to learn to code. I look at the empty desk where Chloe used to sit. I look at the vibe shift poster that someone has half peeled off the wall. Sure, I say, send me the error log. Can you come look at my screen? I stand up. I walk over. I keep my hands behind my back. I stand 3 feet away. Type git status, I say. She types it. Okay, you have a detached head state. Is that bad? No, it's fixable. Here's exactly what to type. I dictate the commands. She fixes it. Oh my God, thank you. You're a lifesaver. No problem. I walk back to my desk. I put my headphones back on. I don't smile. I don't engage further. I did the job. Nothing more. Nothing less. It's not a protest anymore. It's just the new operating system. Optimized for survival. Minimal drag. Zero risk. It's peaceful. But God, it's lonely.